That's right. It's the morning show right here on KVVB TV, channel 33, Facebook Live, and all streaming platforms. It's good to have you with us on today's show. We've got a lot to talk about, including cybersecurity. Yes. Are you worried about where you give your credit card information, or maybe if somebody's going to hack your system? I've had my system hacked a couple of times, and I have a feeling I know who has been behind the hacking. Yes, I'm calling out Mr. Jesse Sanchez. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning. I only did it a couple times.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. So for those of you watching right now, what is it you've got on your head, Jesse?
It's a beanie with a little hole in it. I bought like years ago. I just have one thing though. If you wear something like this, do not wear it into a liquor store.
Wait, when did you
No.
figure this out? Was it recent?
It was a few years ago. I forgot it was on my head because it was really cold.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody was staring at me like I was on fire or something.
No,
And
you're
then
not on fire. They're wondering if you're gonna light
Yeah.
their place on fire is more of the question. Got it. Okay. So, there's people nefarious like Jesse out there dressing nefariously, and big heart, humble man. So there you go. But does that keep your your head is fully warm, fully encapsulated in that? Because it's getting cold up in
Yes,
here.
it is getting cold, and this actually keeps me really warm.
Okay.
I mean, it would probably be better if I actually wore like long pants and stuff I wear shorts to work. In the middle of the morning, it's not smart.
Yeah, no, again, well, hey, everybody to their own. But so there you go. So now I know who's been behind all of my attacks online. No, it's true though. Skype? Did you know Skype could actually be hacked? Yeah, your Skype account. And
Really?
yeah, and they send micro payments, so they make calls overseas. So if you have like a credit, which you have to like load it up, like $10, and they'll take little micro calls out to people and make it so small you don't notice it for quite some time. Oh, that was a pain in an ordeal. But anyway, all right. Well, we got to talk about some other stuff happening around the corner, including disaster relief. We're going to be talking about that around the corner and much, much more. Stay tuned right there. We'll be right back right after these messages. All right, we're on our social media break here, seeing who's in there in the chat room. Yes, I know people are thinking, there's a lot of places I wouldn't go dressed like that, Jesse. I just, I like the airport I wouldn't go to. We live in a weird time where, like that used to be, like you could dress like that and nobody bat an eye. And now, everybody's like, right?
Oh yeah.
So there you go. All right, Stephanie Reed says, hello, happy editing this glorious sunshine day for today's awesome Gilmore the Merrier whole week full of Gilmore Girls on UPTV. I didn't know that was a thing. Evidently it is. All right. Let's see, turn that down. All right. Let's see, let's make sure our streaming, because something went wrong on my end. Speaking of hacking, they're already starting up, Jesse. You and your compadres.
Yeah, we try.
Your compadres, yeah. Let's see. Mandy Lynn over there. Mom's over there. Casey, good morning. In Periscope land, we see you guys. Hosea? You know Hosea was a book in the Bible, right? But I have a feeling that's not the same one. Catharis, let's see. Rofa6 and NK. So thank you for tuning in. Diana Chenevere over there. On today's show, we're going to be talking about, next Tuesday, although every day really should be a mindful one, right, of where you should, want to give. But do you ever have questions on certain charities and, Are they proper charities? Are they doing, like, is your money going where they say it's going? Do you ever have questions like that? I know I do.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking to one actual charity, which is doing a lot. Direct Relief is the company. It's a humanitarian organization. It's one of the 10 largest U.S. nonprofits, strictly apolitical. One of the few organizations that doesn't accept government funding. They've responded to major emergencies in 22 countries, like the Ebola crisis in Central Africa, Cyclone Idai in Mozambique. I'm going to stay away from that during our live show. Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas, humanitarian crises in Syria and Yemen,
We got 15 seconds.
and much, much more. So we'll be talking about that around the corner. Jesse, I think you should only come on during WebRoot because we'll be talking about hacking. I'll be like, there he is. Wait, wrong one. There you go.
2 seconds.
That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB, TV channel 33, and social media platforms galore like Facebook Live, Periscope TV, YouTube Live, and also LinkedIn Live. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We got a lot of social media audience tuning in right now. Big shout out to Mom, who's a weekly and almost every other day listener. Whenever she's not tuning in, I could tell she's sleeping in, right? Because she can. Why not? That's what happens when you're retired. You can sleep in. Mandy Lynn over there, thank you for tuning in. Angie Guzman, Stephanie Reed, Casey, Diana Chenevere says, good morning, everyone. Patricia Sommer over there says, hey, everyone, happy Thanksgiving week. We got people on Periscope tuning in over there. Okay, so we got lots to talk about today. On today's show, a little bit later on, we'll be talking about security, like on internet security, right? Don't be a security Scrooge. That's the headline. How can you be sure your info is safe this holiday season? Well, we're going to have WebRoot's very own VP of Engineering and Cybersecurity, David DeFore, joining us around the corner on that and giving us information that we need to use, because isn't it true wherever you go online or news articles galore, everybody's data is being breached? I mean, your data is like somewhere else and you can't even trust that. But imagine your own data and your own, like your iPhone or your Android, which I believe Android just had a big debacle. If you have an Android and you have Twitter, your information could have been compromised. We'll have that information around the corner for you as well. So we'll be talking to WebRoot's very own VP of Engineering coming up around the corner. Also, this is a really big topic because, as you've already probably been seeing in your news feeds, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everybody's talking about Giving Tuesday, which is happening December 3rd. But ahead of that, you're probably thinking, what is this company actually doing? Are they doing what they say they're doing? And so spending time with us right now, I'm very honored to bring to you somebody who is very busy behind the scenes, taking their organization to the next level. They're one of 10 U.S. nonprofits, which are among the largest. They're strictly apolitical. They're one of the few organizations that doesn't accept government funding. Joining us right now is Thomas Teague, President and CEO of Direct Relief. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. I love the headline on this radio tour, which is, you got to vet your local charity to make sure you're getting the biggest bang for your donation. I always have this question about certain organizations, but your organization, Direct Relief, first of all, I got to go back. What was that moment you said, you know what, our organization needs to be there, needs to be on the front line of disaster relief?
Well, the organization was started long before I was even born. It was started in 1948, but it was founded by people who fled the Nazis in Europe and ended up in California. And so they had a very personal experience, and they were business folks. And so what's now Direct Relief was originally just war immigrant business folks who were just using their own resources to help people they knew personally in this aftermath of World War II. So I think since that time, I think the organization has evolved a lot, and now it works in all 50 U.S. states and in about 100 countries around the world. But the idea is still the same. Just help the people, do it without regard to anything else, just for a humanitarian purpose, and do it as efficiently as you possibly can, and leave the politics to other folks. So I think we try to do that well. We try to bring kind of a business-like approach to things that are not business-like in purpose. Humanitarian health services for people with no money is important for human reasons, but we want to make sure we do it as well as we possibly can with all the tools that exist. So, and we end up getting involved in emergencies because those tend to hit the people who are the least fortunate the hardest. Mm-hmm. And so it's very compelling, and we get to work with great people every day.
Well, and Thomas, obviously, I think a lot of people are surprised to know that you stay away from the political fundraising. How do you do that, though? How do you remain apolitical in times of crisis?
Yeah, I think it's important for charitable organizations. We're required not to engage in political activity. I think that's one of the conditions. The whole idea behind charities in the United States is that there are these things that in the broad public interest, and there's also a political process. But for this tax-deductible status that we're given, just do the work that serves the public interest, not one partisan interest or another. There's another process for that. So I think for us, we've been around for a long time. We recognize that it's challenging when everything seems to become everything's viewed through a political lens, but that's not our role, and I think there's usually enough people yelling about politics these days. They don't need a million additional charities who are supposed to be doing something else engaged in that, and that's consistent with the traditions and the legal requirements as well.
Well, and I have to ask, your organization has been a part of some very terrible disasters. There's disasters happening even, I think, as we speak. There's an earthquake in another country I just saw killing quite a few people. You respond to a variety of different direct response. Can you talk about that? How many it runs the whole landscape of disasters.
Yeah, I think because of the nature of what directly it does. So we're licensed as a pharmacy distributor in all 50 U.S. states, and we were the first and only nonprofit to be able to do this. So that means we can move and distribute prescription medications, vaccines, insulin, inhalers, these things that are critically important every day. But if you don't have them during an emergency, you can, people who have a chronic ailment that they're managing can become an acute crisis if it's unmanaged. So we end up, because of that focus on our range of activities, it's kind of a niche, but we end up doing it everywhere. Because everywhere where people are, in California, as you know, if there's a mass evacuation of people, some of the people are going to have asthma or diabetes or hypertension, and they can get to a shelter safely, but if they don't have their medications with them, they can find themselves in acute medical crisis rather rapidly. So, I mean, even right now in Santa Barbara, we're having an evacuation scenario. We have fires burning about 3 or 4 miles from where I am right now. But
oh, wow.
Used to that here in the state, as you know, I mean, there's something a week, it seems like. And so just making sure that we focus on the work. It's helpful to have a narrow focus as we do, because that's the lens that we bring, whether it's the Bahamas or Puerto Rico. What's the medical supply chain look like? How can we make sure that people who need these essential items get them in a controlled way?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've supplied in 22 countries major emergencies you've responded to. Of these, can you think of one that struck out in your mind as one that there was a relief effort that your organization had put underway that might have been normally a challenge, but you overcame it?
Yeah, I think I was just in Mozambique a few weeks ago, and they 7 months ago they had a cyclone Idai that was disastrous, and really slammed their country's historic proportions. And it was in the news briefly, and then it's out of the news, because it's not new anymore.
Right.
It's a really just damaging blow to a country that spent 20 years kind of building itself up after its independence, and in Southeast Africa. So for us to be able to work, to move in fast, work with both the official government channels so that they knew what we were doing, and then work with actually other nonprofit groups that had been working in these areas for 30 years that were highly trusted, deeply dedicated. We could move in and kind of to scale relatively quickly, but in a controlled way, which was important. Bahamas was the same thing a few months ago when Hurricane Dorian hit. We had never worked in the Bahamas because it's a relatively well-off country. But because of all the experience over the past several years in Puerto Rico and years of work in the Caribbean, they called us, the Minister of Health. They had a disastrous, kind of calamitous situation. And again, we were able to work with the focus on bringing the medical essentials they needed because they lost all of their medical stock. They had thousands of people displaced. And so for us, it was rewarding to be able to move in fast with the focus of our work provides, and then find the right people and figure out how to get the supply chains established and help the people who needed it within a week.
Well, and I've got to imagine just rolling out anything like that can be a pretty big ordeal. You've obviously have some great supply chain partners. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I think FedEx has been a good one. I mean, their corporate contribution for years has been to help us do, among other things, emergencies are basically logistics nightmares because the supply lines break.
Right?
The supply is gone. The distribution centers are gone. The demand is unknown. So I think they're so good. And, nonprofits generally raise money and take that money and convert it into goods and services, right? That's the function of money. It's helpful for that. But I think what Direct Relief Founders realizes that, well, what goods and services is it that you're seeking money to go buy? Maybe the people who provide those goods and services can participate directly. So I think FedEx is a perfect example of that. They've really helped us bring clarity to the chaos of emergencies because they know how to do this commercially. They wouldn't have survived and thrived as a business had they not been able to do that. And they lend all that expertise as well as their aircraft and personnel. So Direct Relief often gets, praise for work that FedEx literally does with us and no charge. So it's a great example of is possible when from our perspective, it's important to engage businesses who are very good at certain functions that are also needed in areas where people may not be able to pay for them in their normal business way. But we look hard at everyone who can play some role in putting a medical supply chain together, particularly in the emergency. It's critically important, and it has to be precise, and it often has to have a cold temperature maintenance throughout for the movement of vaccines or insulin or other medications that have to stay within a very narrow temperature range of refrigeration.
Well, and Thomas, I've been inundated already with, since I guess next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday, but, our family always likes to try to give throughout the year through various means and through a variety of ways. But I understand your organization accepts through different ways. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's ways like, I think Amazon, you could set up one where it's every percentage of something that you buy goes to it. Some people will donate a car. What's the best way, in your opinion, to be able to receive funds for your organization, or any for that matter?
Yeah, I think for both the public and the organizations themselves, it's better if there's a direct communication. So I think sending a check-in seems so old school and antiquated, but it works just fine these days, and so there's little risk of that being diverted. Also, dealing with and making contribution directly to the organization's website tends to be efficient and secure. It's fairly routine now. The other, I guess my advice would be, if you don't know the organization or you don't know the channel through which you're being encouraged to give, don't do it. I think Facebook has a payment mechanism that's Facebook actually absorbs the cost if you make a contribution through the Facebook platform. There's no 2 to 3% frictional cost associated with the credit card processing that often occurs. And PayPal does the same thing. So those are, they're grown up, they're mature payment mechanisms. And so I think those are the best ways to give. If it's some kind of sketchy sounding third party, give to any charity you want. I don't, it might be fine, but if you don't know about it, I wouldn't trust it. It's your money, and charitable organizations need it, and particularly at this time of year, because so many of the causes are so compelling. You're subject to almost being manipulated emotionally and being encouraged to give something, and that's bad. You should never, I don't think, organizations should never push you to make an immediate contribution or make you feel uncomfortable. It's just not the best way to do things. I think it's inconsistent with serving the public benefit that we charitable groups are supposed to do.
Well, Thomas, I know we've run out of time, and I've got to say, I know the almighty dollar works best when given $1 for $1 and no money gets taken out. That's the best way to go. But for those that want to go ahead and make sure to donate to your cause, which is pretty amazing, the stuff that you guys are doing over there, I understand even from those that are still recovering from disasters, you're still helping them out. How can people find out more information and or donate their almighty dollar? Hopefully the full dollar, not like a partial dollar.
Right. Well, directrelief.org has a secure giving. That's our website. It has 72 years of history, our mission, more than you would ever probably care to know about our 72 years of history. But we think it's important to put all that information out there, including our money, how we use it, what it's spent on, and things exactly like you mentioned. We're in a fortunate position that we don't incur fundraising expenses with money that's received. A person died several years ago and left us a bequest, and that money pays for all those things like fundraising that we know the public would prefer not to pay about, so their money can go directly to the cause. And so that's all explained at Direct Relief. And the other groups I mentioned that are independent watchdogs are charitynavigator.org and the Better Business Bureau, which is give.org, and CharityWatch.org. Those are independent. They have nothing to do with us, and they just rate charities for the benefit of consumers who are interested in doing exactly what you're talking about, having their money serve a cause they care about.
Well, I love it. I want to say thank you again for spending time with us here on the morning show. Congratulations to your entire team. Obviously, I know you don't do it all alone, but it takes a huge effort from a lot of volunteers in your side of the camp. So thank you for their time as well, and making a difference in our world that we live in.
Well, thank you. That's kind of you to say. Appreciate it very much, Aaron.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thomas Teague, everybody, from Direct Relief. If you want more information, just go to directrelief.org. They're doing some amazing things over there, a lot of behind the scenes. And if you want to see things kind of in front of the scenes and like see what they're doing, just go to their Facebook account. You'll see it right there. We need to take a much needed break, so we'll be back right after these messages. Stay tuned. So there you go, directrelief.org, which they provide relief for disasters. And they've done quite a lot. They are an organization that do not sit idly by just taking your money. They actually put it to work. So if you're thinking about doing some charitable giving, especially at this time of year, whenever you're at the end and you're, especially if you make a certain amount and you're thinking, instead of giving this away in taxes, I can get, tax credits for this. So you might want to think about the organizations that you do that with, whatever organization you do end up choosing, because there's a lot out there. Maybe you have one close to your heart. It's good to know whether or not they're putting the numbers like where they need to be, right? I mean, how many times have we seen organizations, and you have to be careful. In fact, I think our guest around the corner from Webroot will be talking about this as well, because there's organizations out there that will want to pull your money, and yet they're a not real organization, or B, they just take your money and run with it. So you got to be careful. I remember us one time getting invited to this nonprofit charity event to cover, and it was an organization for AIDS, and we just were invited to cover it, right? And Jesse, I kid you not, when I was there, I felt as though something was amiss, right? Something was a little off. like they were giving a lot of awards out, and I thought, okay. Well, about a week later, it turns out the organization was like under investigation. And I was like, oh no! Like I wanted to distance myself so far away from that charity. It was embarrassing. And we just went to cover it. Like we didn't give money, we didn't tell people to give money, and I was just like, oh my goodness. So you got to be careful out there. You have to be very careful.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Because actually, and there were a lot of actors that were like, let's distance ourselves. But, it's hard to find that out prior to,
Right.
I don't even know what happened with it, to be honest. I don't know where it went. I haven't seen it since. That much I know.
We got 20 seconds.
And sometimes it could just be a clerical error. They forgot to file for a nonprofit status. I've seen that as well. I'm like, get your stuff together.
Right. It happens.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, Periscope TV, and all social media platforms that have a direct video. We want to say a big thank you to our last guest. If you are just tuning in right now and watching it, go to our archive feed. You can find it on Facebook. Just type in KMET 1490 AM. Give us a like there, or KVVB TV 33. You can also check it out on social media as well. Twitter, Instagram. Just look for our direct handles. You'll find us there. Direct Relief, that's where it's at, directrelief.org. If you want to give this coming Tuesday or any time during the year, you might want to put this among your list. They're doing some pretty big things for people on the receiving end that really sometimes you don't know always the person that you're helping out with your dollar, right? You don't know where it's always going. But you can find them on Facebook and see all the great stuff that they're doing as well, including they support local food banks, the animal shelters, among international crises. Again, they talked about providing prescriptions to areas where there is much needed, which if you were in the receiving end, you're like, please help, right? So there you go. All right, switching gears up entirely, though, there's this story, and I thought, Jesse, you might appreciate this, by the way. Do you remember Flight of the Navigator?
Oh, yes, the Disney movie. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is okay, you know the whole story of, like, when things become new, become old again, or what's the phrase they give it?
When old becomes new.
All old becomes new. I've always thought this movie, and for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about right now, this was a fantastic movie brought on by Disney. And Flight of the Navigator, if you remember this screenshot there, for those of you tuning in, all I can tell you is, as a kid, this was one of the best movies I had ever seen. It came out in 1986. As a small child, you'll remember it if you saw it. It's hard to give you the rundown of the story without getting into spoilers, but it's a space fantasy about a young boy and his alien robot friend. You remember, the robot, I think it was Pee Wee Herman's voice. Remember that? Once it went from like cool navigator to like fun, it was like, remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, did anybody remember Pee Wee Herman? I don't know. After that debacle, people probably trying to forget. But it's not about the alien robot. It's actually about just this whole experience. And so, look, here's my thing about this. It's on Disney Plus. Now, have you subscribed to Disney Plus just yet? Jesse, you have, by the way. And just as an update, can you give us an update on whether or not The Mandalorian... Well, first of all, how many episodes have you been through? Because I almost got it yesterday, but we didn't have the little one with us, so I thought, this isn't good if we don't watch it without the little one.
There's only 3 episodes so far, and each one is just amazing.
Amazing. Okay. So suffice it to say, I'm pretty sure you went well over your 7-day week trial, and you're paying into it like monthly now?
Yes, actually, I had the trial, and then like 4 days later, my brother was all like, "I just got a year of Disney Plus." I'm like, "What?"
Oh, so you're piggybacking on his, is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got it. Okay, all right, all right. Yeah, I've already made some deals ahead of time. If like they get it, I get to piggyback off theirs, or vice versa. Like if we get it,
yeah.
I'll let them piggyback on ours. But I don't know. I might like do like a month trial with them, right? Be like, hey, you know what? We can all chip in. People have done that. I've seen it to reduce the cost. You're like, you give
Oh
me a
yeah.
couple dollars and forget PayPal. Like you could do PayPal or you could do Venmo. Just like Venmo me, and they're like, dude. Do you Venmo, Jesse? You should, by the way. Venmo's.
Should I?
Oh yeah,
I've never heard of it.
Venmo's easy. It's so quick and exciting. I ask people to pay me through Venmo because check takes forever. Called the U.S. Postal Service. Thank you very much. But anyway, okay, enough about that. We need to take another break. When we come back, it's all about cybersecurity. Are you secure? We'll be talking to Webroot coming up around the corner. Stay tuned to more right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, people. So yes, you need to be careful out there. I feel that I feel Jesse knew what was coming up around the corner because Jesse looks a little suspicious over there. Jesse, it looks like you're planning nefarious plans.
I'm always planning something,
Got
but
it.
nothing ever comes to fruition. I try to take over the world a couple times, and suddenly you're a supervillain.
Oh man, remember that? Hey, God's brain, what are we gonna do tonight? Remember, like,
Yes, Pinky and the Brain.
yeah, I could never get Brain's voice though. I was always Pinky.
He has a deep voice.
Yeah, but it was weird too. I think I met the guy that played his voice once, and I was
Ooh,
like,
nice.
yeah, I'm not even gonna try. But Pinky, I mean, come on. I know people are like, who is Pinky and the Brain? Only the best animated series ever.
Animaniacs. Ugh, great show.
I'm really refraining from doing all the voices. My favorite is Wacko. Right? You got Yakko, Wacko, and Dot.
Yes.
And there's an episode, I talk about it all the time. You can YouTube it. And every time I have to, you know, when you've drinking too much water or maybe too much soda,
Okay.
and you really got to go. So this whole episode, I got to get potty. It's a potty emergency. Potty, 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 potty. And then he opens up a door of a gas station and he puts on the lights and all of the cockroaches are right there and then they scatter. He goes, I can't go in there. It's disgusting. Right? And it's kind of like a mix up between a Beatles voice and, you know, like Wacko. Oh man, I love that show. Loved it. My parents actually got me the DVD collection of like the first season. It was amazing. Anyway, yeah, you need some fun. Go see It's a Potty Emergency. And you know what? When it is a potty emergency, I think that. I tell people that. It's a potty emergency. You need to let me in.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
25 seconds.
All right. Have they called in, or did I set up the wrong date on them, or are they like being held back?
I don't know. I think Webroot got stolen or something. 'Cause they haven't called me.
I think they got their phone lines crossed up. No, they're probably busy with
10
somebody else.
seconds.
Let me know if they call in. I'll buy
Okay.
us some time.
5 seconds.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM, KVVB TV, 33 Facebook Live, various platforms, all that serve video to you. If you're watching us on this particular one, then you already know where we're at. But find us on LinkedIn Live. Just type in my name, Aaron Michael Sanchez. You'll find us there. And also YouTube Live with our producing partner over there, Hollywood Social Lounge. Okay. So we got lots to talk about here, including this. Yes, I know. Jesse, you'll appreciate this because maybe you're thinking, you know what? I don't want to have to prepare a whole full course meal, right? You just just give it all to me. in a can. Well, I'm glad you asked about this, Jesse, even though you didn't know you asked about it, because there is such a thing, and it's called Christmas dinner. Have you seen this? Oh, it looks delicious. Yummy. It's a 9-layer meal. It includes everything you need for a traditional Christmas dinner, including dessert. It starts with scrambled egg and bacon. Then it moves down to 2 mince pies, turkey, potatoes, gravy, bread sauce, cranberry sauce, Brussels sprouts with stuffing or broccoli with stuffing, roast carrots and parsnips, and to complete the meal, Christmas pudding. Jesse, take it away. Is this something you're going to watch or...
You messing with me? Is this real?
This is real. This is what? I don't mess with you on this show. Let's see. So there you go.
I have no words to describe.
Yeah, it's called Christmas Dinner.
Oh my God.
You could get it from Game, and if you go to game.co.uk, this is an actual thing. You can actually buy it. And for those like listening in our radio audience, how would you describe this, Jesse?
It's like if you're taking a soil sample and then you can see all the different layers throughout the years.
That is, it's like, what layer are we at right now, right, to eat this? So if that didn't disgust you enough, then there's this, which isn't really disgusting, but it's one of those, like, if you kind of get disgusted on one thing, and you kind of, like me, you kind of get disgusted on a lot of different things, then all of a sudden this story will either make you hungry or just turn your tummy up. So this is happening. It is a special new burrito. And it's from our friends over there at, I believe, Taco Bell. So Taco Bell has a grilled cheese burrito. There it is in all its glory right there. Except the cheese is on the outside. Yeah.
Our caller's on the line.
Despite its name, the burrito doesn't seem to resemble a classic grilled cheese sandwich. It features a layer of a melty 3-cheese blend on the outside of the tortilla, making for literal grilled cheese. The burrito is selling for only $2.99, or it can be ordered in a $5 box with 2 crunchy tacos and a drink, or the $7 box with a big beef chalupa extreme. Nacho cheese, Doritos, Locos, tacos, chips with cheese sauce, and a drink. And so there you go. Would you have that? We want to know about it. Okay, switching gears up entirely. A cyber security. Are you a security Scrooge? It's not the right time to be a Scrooge, for sure. Joining us right now is David Dufour, the VP of Engineering and Cybersecurity over there at WebRoot and cybersecurity expert. Good morning. Welcome to the show, David.
Hi.
Hi, this is not David. Who's this?
Hi, I'm gonna connect you with David in 1 second. Okay?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, that would be great. Okay, let's go back to this burrito here. So the burrito here, Jesse, would you want this special new grilled cheese burrito?
If I have lots of lactate pills, I'd be willing to try it, which I might try it as soon as I get out of work today.
You would do that? I would do that too. Yeah, so there you go. All right. I tell you what, we're going to take a break here on the morning show. When we get back, I hope, we have WebRoot coming up next. Just stay tuned right there. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Tired of waiting in line for overpriced coffee?
All right, so we're getting our guest hopefully ready to go over there. I really do think somebody before us. See, this is why we can't keep people longer than the allotted time, because then we walk over somebody else's interview. And I know some of you are like, "But wait, we just got to the best part." And you're like, "Oh, sorry, we're done." Because they usually run in 10-minute increments, but When somebody holds up from us, we're like, it's like a line, right? It's like a press line. If you've ever, or if most of you probably never been in a press line, but if you're on the red carpet and there's somebody in front of you taking like a billion questions, there are some publicists that will be like, okay, wrap it up, and they'll give you the one sign, right? Then there's the opposite extreme where they go, you're allowed one question, and you're like, how am I going to get a good interview on one question? Like, what do you want me to ask? Who are you wearing? So I always try to sneak in a second or third one, mindful of the people behind me. Now, there are some carpets that are busier than others, like the MTV Movie Awards. Great example. We haven't done that in about 5-6 years, but they were like back to back. Like, you know, depending where you're at, there's like a bazillion people there, and you're lucky if you even get an interview with somebody. Then there's the SAG Awards. Did that one year. Probably won't do that again because we walked on the carpet and the rest is history. But so there you go. Yeah. And you know what? And then you gotta elbow people. You gotta be like, move over, or they elbow you. I tried to be nice to everybody around me. So I'm always very like, you know, but I didn't always used to be that way. I used to be kind of like, hey, this is my space. Like, get out of here. But then you never know who knows who. And you never know when that person next to you might like give you something that you need. Like, oh, I don't know, a mic, because your mic went dead, or a light, like all of a sudden, like ones that work together, have been in this game long enough, work together to help you out, right?
We have 10 seconds, and he's ready to go.
Oh, yay. And he can stay with us like till 50 now, or?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even
Yeah, can you ask that
question.
really? But just,
Yep.
I don't want to get cut off and then like, oh, you're done, and like, what?
Yep. I'll put you on, you
Okay.
through, and then I'll, yeah.
Okay, thanks. That's right. It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Joining our live TV audience over there at KVVB TV, Channel 33, Facebook Live, Periscope TV, and much, much more. I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, you know what? You want to go shop, you want to travel, you want to give to a charitable organization, and maybe you're just preparing to do all this. And then all of a sudden, in the very back of your mind, you're thinking, wait a minute, is this safe and secure? Well, speaking of safe and secure, we have with us our very good friend over there at, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. What, Jesse? Yay, okay, we got David Dufour over there joining us right now from Webroot, a very popular man, very difficult, again, to get on the line. We got Mr. David Dufour. Good morning, welcome to the show, David.
Hey, it's great being here.
Yeah, look, I know you're very popular. It's hard to get you. How does it feel to be popular around this time of year? Because I understand security is at its highest level here over there at Webroot. What's going on?
Well, you know, right this time of year, folks are, you know, traveling. They're doing things very hectic time of year, and a lot of times people aren't looking at their cyber hygiene or paying attention as much as they would be on a normal, you know, regular day. So we really want to be have a heightened sense of awareness, because the cyber criminals are very active this time of year with all of the purchasing going online and a lot of, you know, cyber purchasing and cyber shopping.
Wait, hold on. You had me at cyber hygiene, because now I'm thinking differently of how I think about cybersecurity, because it's true. Like, you don't want to get next to somebody that has bad body odor, but it's kind of like, you know, the same with, you don't want to leave yourself open to all these possible threats.
That is exactly right. You want to make sure you have good passwords. You want to make sure you're updating your computers. And one example of cyber hygiene is, you know, when you're home, you're using your Wi-Fi network. It's secure. You know, it's a clean network, and you're doing things that you would normally do at home. When you travel, you use public networks. And a public network is a little bit like a public bathroom, a little bit dirtier.
Oh.
People can look at what you're doing. You got to be wary.
Oh, God, you just grossed me out even more. We shared a story earlier. I'm like, you're right, though. It's so true. I remember back in the day when I would just connect to any Wi-Fi, like before I learned about security, and I thought, oh, what's the harm? And just to kind of give people, like, you know, maybe they're going at Starbucks Wi-Fi or anybody else's Wi-Fi. What can a person nefarious on the other side be doing? Like, I think it's called sniffing. I'm sure there's more things that people could do on the opposite end of that.
That's absolutely correct. So when you're on those public networks, they're typically not encrypted. And so a cyber criminal can get on there, they can sniff, that's a great example, the network traffic that's flowing across that network, and they can capture it and very easily recreate the page you're seeing and the information you're entering so that they have the ability to actually see what you've typed. It's almost like looking over your shoulder. So you've got to be very careful the kind of information you're typing into your computer on those public networks.
Okay, see, I'm glad you brought this up because I've always had a question, and I thought, okay, what happens if I do that and then my information's out there, and will I ever know about it? Probably not.
Well, you may not, but if you do suspect you've been hacked, this is something we did a survey on this year that 50% of people in our survey had been susceptible to a phishing attack where someone's trying to get you to click a link and then enter some credentials so that they can steal them. Of those people, a third of them didn't change their password after they had been hacked. So what you want to do is the very first thing, if you think you've been hacked or you've been on a public Wi-Fi and you're like, oh my gosh, something happened, whatever account you used, change the password. It is the number one thing you can do to protect yourself. Even if your information gets stolen, if you change your password, cyber criminals can't use it.
I'm not lying right now. I need to go get this web root right now. I need to buy this because I'm thinking of my mom. My mom has been susceptible to so many phishing attacks. I'm like, Mom, no, stop. And she's like, what? I thought that they were real. And I'm like, no. So for moms and everybody out there, I think this makes a really good gift for this holiday season. What say you?
Well, I mean, I work there, so I'm a little biased. But yes, I think whether it's our product or some other product, you really do want to make sure you've got something that protects your machine, both to ensure you're not getting, viruses or malware, but additionally, when you're online, there's tools that will protect you. If a phishing site comes up, it'll alert you, hey, this looks like a phishing site. You might want to be wary. There are software tools to help folks make better choices. Because at the end of the day, Aaron, it all comes down to the choice the user makes when they're presented with a threat.
Yeah, and look, I understand. I think AT&T has this really cool thing. It's called VPN. Is that secure though, or not?
So yes, VPN sounds fancy. Oh, all these cyber tech people, they talk all these three-letter acronyms. A VPN is a virtual private network, and it is absolutely something that can help protect you when you're using public networks. And what it does is encrypt your data from your device, your phone or your tablet or your PC, to the internet so that no one can sniff that information.
But if you don't have that set up, then I'm assuming WebRoot does?
So we do have a product that we call Secure Wi-Fi because most people use it when they're on Wi-Fi. But as you said, AT&T has a VPN. So there's a lot of reputable VPN solutions out there. And 5-10 years ago, really it was very technical people or corporations that used them because they were very complicated to set up. But anymore, you can find free ones. I would hesitate to recommend a free one, but there are some very good ones for reasonable prices that you just download, install, and they run when you need them. They determine if you're on a public network, and they'll protect you almost automatically, and they're very simple to use.
Okay, so I'm used to security on my computer device, and I'm going to be, I hate to admit this, I've never had one on my Android, which I've had, and or my iPhone, but I understand your service, it runs on both, right? And why is that important?
So the VPN service we have runs on all platforms. Again, there are two types of attacks typically that you see. You see where they're trying to attack the operating system of the device, like I want to get on your iPhone or I want to get on your Android, or I want to try to skim or sniff that network traffic. It's a little bit easier to skim or sniff that network traffic than it is to get on a device and actually infect that device. So, the VPN or the secure Wi-Fi, it watches that network traffic. Super easy to install because honestly, the Apple and Google have done a pretty good job of locking down their smartphones and really securing those operating systems, which is good for good for all of us.
Well, I want to say a big thank you. I know we got to let you go. We don't want to hold up the line, so to speak, with people that want to speak to you. For where can people get more information? And I don't know, do you have any special deals we could check out?
Well, they don't ever let me talk about money. I'm in engineering, but I can tell you this. If you go to webroot.com/blog, we have a ton of information about these type of threats, and you can get a lot of information about upcoming threats that we're seeing and trending, just all kinds of stuff to help you, secure yourself and get more knowledge.
All right. Well, thank you, David, for spending time with us here on the morning show. Congratulations on all the work you guys are doing. And thanks for keeping us safe from the nefarious people out there that are just trying to steal our information. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great being here.
All right. David DeFore, everybody. Yes, he knows what he's talking about, by the way. And if you've got a business, you definitely need Webroot. I know the last time we had David here on the show, we actually were talking about this, and I had never heard of Webroot. And then I found out that our own network actually uses Webroot as well. They love it. And so once I started hearing about like people actually using it, I was like, oh, okay, then this is pretty amazing. So there you go, webroot.com. You can get your information. Jesse, just out of curiosity, do you have any type of because you have, correct me if I'm wrong, you have an Android?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, those are most susceptible. You heard it from the man himself, who actually has an app which runs on both, securing them. That iPhone technically was like, he didn't really throw Android under the bus. But how do you feel about that now that you know? Do you feel like it's never going to happen to me, or do you feel confident about your choices over there?
Maybe. The question is what information would they take from my phone other than?
Oh, little do we know, Jesse. Little do we know. Maybe they may not take it right. Maybe, or better yet, what if in 5 to 10 years, now you're a mega billionaire all of a sudden because you won a huge lottery, and now they have all of your information. They're like, oh, let's see. Okay. Oh, let's go back in, and then they wipe it clean because they had all of your bank account information. What about that, Jesse?
Seems like I need a giant bank like Scrooge McDuck.
All right. Well, anyway, so there you go. For everybody, you're not helping me. All right. Webroot.com. That's where it's at. Webroot. And look, I know I have been hacked a couple of times on my own social media it's terrible. It really is. And people are thinking, well, how did they get this? And it was simple. All you were doing was surfing on somebody else's Wi-Fi, or they have these devices on laptops. I remember seeing this on some other news broadcast, and they can easily like pretend, as he said, kind of fish. But they've even got other stuff he didn't even talk about, where they could see your login, they could see your password, and now they can log in as you. And I don't know. Say to your girlfriend, hey, I want to break up. And then all of a sudden you don't realize, Jesse, that she's not talking to you. And then you're wondering why. And it's all because somebody stole your identity. You're welcome. And there you go. I knew we could figure this out of how, see, you don't have to have billions of dollars.
There you go.
In order to get, you see? So be careful out there, Jesse. Or everybody else, be careful of Jesse, because he looks like he might steal your credit card info. I'm not profiling. I'm not trying even to stereotype, but come on. They wear that in, Grand Theft Auto, I'm pretty sure. So
they have cool ones in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, yeah. Which, by the way, shout out to those of you that have young kids. You got to go to YouTube and put on. So they have this new thing. I just signed into YouTube, by the way, and I'm glad that they did this. I got to talk about this for those of you that have young kids. Now, Jesse, would you say Grand Theft Auto is suitable to play or watch under 10?
No.
Why? Why do you feel that way?
It's just the last time I played Grand Theft Auto, the game was just about stealing and killing people. So I don't know. It doesn't seem appropriate for a kid under the age of 10.
Well, and so that's the thing. So truth be told, I was hearing the little one on his YouTube device, and he's watching Ryan's World. Ryan is all the rage, by the way, with the little kids. Everybody knows Ryan. Ryan's this kid which actually has a whole lineup of toys at Target. So when your kid says, oh, Ryan's World, I gotta have that, you're thinking, God, that's marketing taken to the next level. Smart. I'm not gonna knock it. It's smart. Might even have them on the show one day. I don't know. But here's what I know. all of a sudden he's going through videos and he's like talking to me about guns and certain things. I'm like, what is this kid watching? So I turned over to his little iPad device and saw he's watching other kids play, but other like youngish kids, right? Like teens, teenage years, and even older playing this game, Grand Theft Auto. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like, is there a filter on this app? Because they have two different ones. They have YouTube Kids, which is for like the super, super young kids, right? Which, if you're a parent, you need to put your kids on YouTube Kids. But, you know, they kind of graduate out of that area, or better yet, they find your iPhone or your iPad and they're like, oh, look at regular YouTube. And all of a sudden they're clicking on everything. You're like, oh my goodness. So I saw a couple screenshots. I'm like, no. So here's my point. Parents and legal guardians over there as well, or stepchildren or whatever. Like, make sure to watch what your kid is watching on this YouTube, and you go into age restrictions and you actually like modify it so that everything under a certain age group is actually restricted. So if they bring one of these up, it says, oh, it can't play on this device, and the kid's like, why is it not playing? Oh, well, and they go on to the next one. So I enacted this, Jesse, and I'm just saying I'm happy about it. But if you're a YouTube creator, they just instituted this, and I applaud YouTube for doing this. They just instituted a age, is this appropriate for young kids? So when you upload stuff, you're thinking, oh wait, or if you have like kids in it, you have to actually say whether you have kids in it now. So YouTube obviously has been under fire for stuff like this. But until they get their act together, as parents, watch what your kids are watching on their device. Because I've seen the majority of you as parents, like, have your kids on YouTube and you're thinking, oh, it's YouTube, it's not that. But imagine all the stuff that you're getting in there, and it's not filtered typically. Like, you're thinking like, okay, I don't take them to go see an R-rated movie or even an X-rated movie, but that type of stuff exists on YouTube. Twitter, just as bad, if not worse. In fact, it's just, don't even get me talked about that. So as parents, again, be careful out there. Monitor your young kids' stuff. We're talking about cybersecurity. I don't know how we got into like security of your young one. And you know what? The young ones as well, they learn coding at a young age. So then they'll figure out how to like hack it and then get back into it. But until then, watch what your kids watch. And again, YouTube, good job for finally putting that in. I was about to call you out, but you did it before me. So good job. All right. So we got to take a huge break. Jesse, who's coming up next here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM?
Up next, we have The Mortgage Voice.
All right. So there you go. And Dave Ramsey coming up around the corner. Love that guy. 3 hours of great content, how to get financially free. You definitely want to watch or listen, rather, to his program. And, okay, we got to let you guys go. Make it a great day, whatever you do. Jesse, we'll see you tomorrow. And please, please, please be careful where you walk into. I don't need you, like, taken away and not on this show because some cops are like, oh, yeah, he's the guy. Because you kind of look like the guy. Just saying. Not profiling, just saying. All right. Bye-bye, Jesse. Oh, no. So there you go. All right. Social media comments. We see you guys over there. Thanks for staying with us in Periscope. We got Kelly, Egby, we got Egretter, and Kelly's. Also Mustafa over there. Thanks for tuning in. And Facebook land, we see you guys over there. Let's see. Diana Chenevere says, I'd eat the grilled cheese. Look cool having cheese on the outside. Oh, yeah. We didn't get to that fully. Or did we? I can't remember it now. The whole show is a blur, but there it is. So if you're going to go check that out, let us know. We'd like to see the video of you eating that. Why, you ask? Because I just want to see if it's really as good as it looks. I'm not going to lie. Mandy Lynn says, lots of lactate pills wouldn't help me with that burrito. It would turn me inside out anyway. Yeah, right? I know. Totally. Patricia Sommer says, comes complete with stomach pump. Wait a minute. Are you talking about that, or are you talking about the amazing Christmas dinner? Yeah, there it is. All right there. But now that would be a great gag to actually get somebody. I would question, though, the person that would actually buy it and then eat it, right? There you go. That's a dare. You ever see that show, Double Dare? I dare you. I double dare you. Remember? That was a fun show. All right. So there you go. Big shout out to those tuning in live. Thank you for liking, hearting, commenting, sharing. Angie Guzman over there. Stephanie Reed. Taz Zarate, Diana Carbajal, all the regulars. as well as those visiting for the first time. We know, we see you. You're hiding off there in the midst, just watching and listening. Some of you actually watching us at work, especially on LinkedIn Live. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, we got to see you tomorrow on tomorrow's show. We got more great guests, actually one great guest, and a lot of news stories coming up tomorrow right here on The Morning Show. Stay tuned. And KVVB TV programming coming up next right here.